Mommy, I don't care if you're going to have a mistress, but at least don't get caught. If our neighbors find out, then it's embarrassing.
Shut up! I'm giving you plenty to live off of. So don't complain and let me do it my way.
Coco, I'm scared.
Don't worry, Aimee. I'm always going to protect you. My name is Kosuke Ada. I'm 13 years old. I just got up to middle school. This girl's Aimee. She's my 8-year-old little sister. And those two have been fighting this whole time, as much as I don't want to admit it, are my mom and my dad. My dad and my mom have never gotten along. On top of that, they don't seem interested in their kids at all. And it wasn't either of them that raised us, but instead, it was always our helper. That being said, the helpers didn't last very long either. When I was younger, I didn't really understand, but it turns out that my dad would only hire young and pretty helpers, and then call her to his room and do all kinds of things to her. I often saw him handing the helper a thick envelope. Every single time, they would be crying, but my mom would never say anything about it. If anything, she would look the other way. I always wondered how these two gave birth to my little sister when I was 5 years old. After my sister was born, our house was like a revolving door with a lot of people leaving congratulatory gifts. After that, different adults would come by saying things like,
"In the future, we would love to connect her with my son."
By the way, we also just had a daughter, and we hope she can have a good relationship with your son in the future.
And they had already started discussing future partners for us. Even just thinking about it now makes my skin crawl. My dad worked for a very big company and our family was rich. I guess this is what rich people talk about together. I was only 5 years old, but I held my baby sister Aimee's hand tight. I promise I'll protect you no matter what, Aimee. I'll never forget the promise that I made to her. Every day, the helper would take me and my sister to elementary school and middle school. But one day, it was well past the time that she usually came to pick me up, and the helper never arrived. I had a bad feeling. So I rushed over to the elementary school that Aimee went to. As expected, nobody had gone to pick her up either.
Nobody came for me today, but you're here, Coco. I'm so glad.
Aimee, you're already in elementary school. You should stop calling me Coco.
Then what about Mr. Coco?
You can just call me Kosuke.
But Mommy will get mad at me if I don't call you what she tells me to call you.
That's just because they care too much about what others think. When you're with me, you can just call me Kosuke.
Okay.
While complaining about our parents, the two of us held hands and walked home together. We had no idea that this was the beginning of our hell. What is this? I was so shocked that I raised my voice. Our house was a completely empty shell. Even at 13 years old, I knew exactly what had happened. My father and my mother had thrown this house away and left. Not just the house, though. Me and my sister as well.
Kosuke, is this...
Aimee, let's go to our room for now. When we went to the children's room, luckily, all of our things were left as they were. I'm sure they'd already sold anything that was worth any money, but my dad and my mom never spent any money on their kids. The only time they spent money on us was for clothes when we would be going somewhere. When I checked our closet, just as I expected, those clothes were all missing. As long as we had some normal clothes, we would be able to get by somehow, but... Ah! It's gone! My piggy bank! The piggy bank, where I'd been collecting the gift money from relatives, was gone! I never even told Dad or Mom about this! I thought as long as we had that, we would be able to live off of it for a little while. But what do I do now? Right at that time, I remembered the worst possible thing.
Hey, Kosuke, where are Mother and Father?
I think, because it's your birthday tomorrow, they went out shopping. You know how they throw a party for you every year?
Oh, I see. That makes sense.
Our dinner tonight will be from the convenience store, but is that okay?
That's okay, because we're gonna eat a lot tomorrow.
Alright, will you be okay at home alone for a little bit? This is bad. This is bad! It's already an emergency situation with my parents disappearing, and all I have is the cash that's in my wallet right now. I'm so unlucky that I just bought all of my textbooks yesterday, and I don't even have $10 left. We may be able to manage today, but what about tomorrow? And the day after that? On top of that, how are we supposed to live without adults? Maybe I have to go tell the police, but if I do that, what happens to us? What if I get separated from Aimee? I can't let that happen! I have to protect Aimee no matter what! I went to the nearest convenience store to get one lunchbox and some drinks. Now what I have left is $4.10, but at this point, forget buying a present. I won't even be able to get her a cake.
Kosuke, thank you for buying my food.
Don't worry about it. Come on, let's take a bath and go to bed early tonight.
Yeah.
Luckily, the electricity and the water was still running, but I had no idea when that would stop. I had to do something about it ASAP, but why? Why am I only 13 years old? If only I was an adult already, we wouldn't have to worry about all of this, and I would be able to protect Aimee. What am I supposed to do from now on? I realized that besides my dad and my mom, I didn't have any adults that I could turn to. I was so angry that those two adults were the only people that I had that I could rely on. However, that night, an even more terrible hell was waiting for us. What is it?
Hey, hurry up and come on out! We know you're in there, huh?
Kosuke?
Shh, just stay quiet, okay?
Damn it, brother, this is useless. It's an empty shell in there.
We have no choice then. We're going to seize this house. Bring the young troops tomorrow and put it all to dust by the end of the day.
Roger.
I could hear the aggressive footsteps getting farther away from the door. I didn't know exactly what was happening, but if we stayed here in this house, I didn't know what the scary adults would do to us. Aimi, listen closely.
Uh-huh.
We have to get out of this house immediately. If we stay in this house, those scary people are going to come here again tomorrow.
I don't wanna stay here.
I'm sorry, Aimi. This is our only choice. I stuffed as many clothes as I could into a backpack and grabbed the bare minimum school materials that I could and left the house behind me with Aimi. That day, we ended up spending the night in the playground on the bench. I'm glad it was June right now. If it was a hotter summer day, or even worse, the winter, Aimi probably wouldn't have survived the night.
Kosuke.
Don't worry, I'm going to be by your side no matter what, Aimi. Unfortunately, tomorrow was the start of the weekend, which means we wouldn't be able to go to school. If we could at least go to school, then we could eat lunch there, and I figured we would be able to get by, but Aimi finally stopped crying and finally fell asleep, but I was so overwhelmed with fear and confusion that I wasn't able to fall asleep, and without getting 1 minute of sleep, the morning came, and so, day one of our homeless life began. I took Aimi with me to have a look at what happened to our house. When we got there, we saw a bunch of scary adults surrounding the house.
We've seized the house and the property. Now all we have to do is find those people.
They said they had kids, right? Then they can't be far.
No, but there is the possibility that they left the kids. According to the owner of the pawn shop that they ran to, I heard that bastard gave half of the money from the pawn shop to the woman, and they split up on the spot.
Those pieces of crap. It was really likely that those people were looking for us. In that case, Aimi and I would be split up. We have to get out of this town immediately. I immediately grabbed Aimi's hand, and we rushed to the train station, but there was a limit to how far the two of us could go, and we were only able to go 2 stations.
Wow, this is my first time in a place like this. But why?
Because it's your birthday today. I thought the two of us could go somewhere we've never been before.
Wow, I'm so happy. Let's go, I want to see everything.
And so, the two of us started walking around this town that we got off at for the first time. Even then, I was so worried that those scary adults from earlier might come find us, and I didn't have an ounce of excitement in me, but...
Kosuke, I'm getting hungry.
I bet. It's already past noon, and we didn't have breakfast either.
Hey, can we go home? I'm sure Mother and Father are back already too. Kosuke?
I had reached my limit. I was tired, I was hungry, and I was so terrified that those scary adults would find us, and I didn't know what to do anymore. By the time I realized, I had tears flowing out of both eyes as I fell to the ground.
Kosuke, what's wrong? Does your stomach hurt?
No, I'm sorry, Aimi, that I'm such an unreliable brother. I'm sorry.
Oh, look over there. There's a cake shop over there. Let's go and buy a cake there and take it home with us. And then we can eat it at home.
I looked to the direction that Aimi was pointing, and there was a small bakery there. The colorful cakes that were flashing in the window were almost like jewels, but there was no way that I would be able to buy a cake for her. Even then, Aimi grabbed my arm and pulled me towards the shop and started walking straight towards it. I guess I have no choice now.
Wow, they all look so yummy. Look, Kosuke.
Yeah, luckily, right at that moment, it looked like there weren't any employees around. In that case, we might be able to do something. Aimi, stay right beside me, okay?
Yeah.
The cakes are inside of the glass window, so I can't get to them. But maybe these baked goodies. I tried to put a bag of cookies in my bag, and right at that moment...
What are you doing there, young man?
Ah!
Oh, hi, sir. I'm Aimi. Today's my birthday.
Is that so? Well, happy birthday, young lady.
That's why my brother and Kosuke and I came here, to choose a cake. Right, Kosuke?
What do I do? This old man, he has the same face as the scary adults! This was probably just a trap to capture us! We have to run away, or we'll be caught! We're going to be caught! I grabbed Aimi's hand firmly and tried to run away, when suddenly...
You two, come with me over here.
Huh?
Don't worry, just come.
I felt trapped by the old man's pressure, so I went with Aimi and did as he said, and we went towards the back of the cake shop. There was a normal house, and I realized it was probably the room where the old man was living.
Take a seat there.
Yes, sir.
This is great, isn't it? We've been walking all day and we were so tired.
Yeah, you're right. Ah! What?
Kosuke?
Don't let go of my hand! I knew it was a trap! We're going to be killed! Just as I thought that, from behind us, the old man appeared, holding a cake with candles on it.
Little girl, it's your birthday, isn't it? This is a present from me. Please, accept it.
Wow. Are you sure?
Of course. And happy birthday to you.
When I saw the old man smiling as he gave us the cake, I crumbled into tears. Suddenly, I felt a warm weight on the top of my head. The old man was patting me on the head. I don't know what exactly happened, but it looks like you've been through a lot. If you'd like, you can tell me what happened. But first, you should eat until you're full. There. After crying for a while, I finally calmed down, and I took a big bite of the cake. The cake tasted sweeter and more delicious than any I had ever had in my entire life. Oh, looks like the princess is a little sleepy. She can go ahead and sleep in my bed. And you two are? I'm Kosuke Ada. I'm 13 years old. This is my sister, Aimi. She's 8 years old. My goodness, you're both still little kids. The old man muttered this as he lifted Aimi and let her sleep in his bed. Then he placed a cup of warm milk in front of me. Why don't you tell me what happened? As he sat down next to me, I told him what kind of household I grew up in, as well as everything that happened yesterday and today. The old man scrunched his face, but had tears in his eyes as he listened silently while I talked. We don't have anywhere to go home to, and I don't know what to do. Hey, do you know why I'm running a cake shop? What? Because you like cakes? No, it's because it was my wife's dream. Your wife? My wife was studying to become a pastry chef, but in the middle of her studies, her parents fell ill, and she had no choice but to go back to her hometown. There, through a twist of fate, we met and got married, and she always talked about how opening up her own cake shop was her dream. I'm not the smartest cookie, so I had a hard time finding a job too. I worked multiple jobs while learning how to make cakes for my wife, and we slowly started preparing to open our own place. Wow, and what about your wife? She died at the end of last year in a traffic accident. We were never lucky enough to have kids, so now I'm all alone, running this cake shop that was her dream. No way! I could see the nostalgia in the old man's eyes as they drifted towards the wall decorated with photos of his wife. Seeing this, my heart hurt so much that I almost started crying again. I might not be able to pay you, but how would you like to help out at this shop? We have an extra room. I think for 2 kids, we would be able to figure it out together. What? But... your school will be too far away, right? I don't care about my school, but I think my parents did something really bad. If we stay here, it might cause you some trouble someday. My name is Junzo Hanasaki. Don't you worry. I may be a pastry chef, but my face is certainly effective. I'll be sure to protect you two. Mr. Junzo, why are you being so nice to us when we only just met for the first time? I don't know what it is. Who knows? But I can't just throw away 2 kids who are in trouble. She always loved kids, and if she was still alive, I know she wouldn't think twice about helping you two. Up until now, I always hated adults. I thought they were terrible creatures who were always lying. And I always thought that I'd never wanted to become an adult like that. But I knew immediately that Mr. Juzo was different from any adult I had ever met. I promise I'll be useful and prove myself. So please let us stay here. Please! Alright, I'm looking forward to it, Kosuke.
6 years later.
Dad, we just got an order from MoniRobo Elementary School and Middle School for their lunchtime Christmas cakes. Shortcake and chocolate cake. How many of each? 70 short and 60 chocolate. All right, let's get right to ordering the ingredients. Yes, sir.
Dad, Kosuke, I'm home. What can I help you with?
Oh, well, if you don't mind, can you start stuffing the muffins into the bags?
Yes, Chef.
6 years later, my sister and I had become Mr. Juzo's adopted children. After that day, Mr. Juzo had gone to the police station as well as the Child Services Center and explained the situation to them. Eventually, he even got a lawyer involved and officially adopted us into his family as his children. At first, Aimi couldn't accept that our mother and father had left us, and she was crying hysterically every day. But little by little, she was touched by Mr. Juzo's kindness and eventually accepted him as her father. I trusted Mr. Juzo from the beginning, so nothing in the world made me happier than to officially become his real child. After that, Aimi and I both transferred schools, and we changed our last names. Thanks to that, our parents never came looking for us, and we've been living peacefully.
I can't believe you're already going to be 20 next year, Kosuke. It's crazy how time flies.
I'm going to be graduating pastry school too, so I can officially become your apprentice here. Please, teach me everything.
Cut it out. You've studied it all in school. You'll be the one teaching me. After all, how many of our best sellers have you made already?
But as the heir to this shop, it's my duty.
Well, who do you think you are?
I never could have guessed it myself, but it turns out that I had a knack for baking cakes, and after being taken in by Mr. Juzo, I dove into cake making every day, and before I knew it, our shop had become one of the most popular in town. Thanks to Amy promoting the shop on social media, recently, we've even had TV and online media coming to report on us. 6 years ago, I was so worried about what would happen to our lives, and I never could have imagined that we would find happiness like this. All of this was thanks to Mr. Juzo and his wife.
Hey, Kosuke?
What's wrong?
Actually, the other day I walked by the house we used to live in.
What?
Just by pure coincidence, really. Now it's just a vacant piece of land.
I see. I wonder what those people are up to nowadays.
Actually, for a school report, I was doing research on a big embezzlement case from a few years ago.
Wow, that's amazing.
And then, I saw Dad's name there.
What? What Amy proceeded to tell me was beyond my wildest expectations. The company that my father was working for was part of an explosive embezzlement case and suffered huge damages. And at one point, they were on the verge of bankruptcy, and the person behind the embezzlement was none other than our dad. He tried to run away in the middle of the night, but was arrested. His spouse at the time vanished, and to this day, nobody knows where she is. The suspect had 2 children at the time, but they were believed to have vanished with their mother. Apparently, that's what the media had reported. I can't believe that our family was so well off because of embezzlement.
I debated whether to tell you or not, but I couldn't keep it all to myself.
No, I'm glad you told me. Plus, there's no need to worry about it anymore.
But
Because we're not Ada's anymore. We're the children of Hanasaki. We were minors at the time, so our names weren't in any of the articles, were they?
yeah,
Kosuke Ada and Aimi Ada both died 6 years ago. Alive now are Kosuke Hanasaki and Aimi Hanasaki. They're working hard together with their father as a family at their popular cake shop. And that's that.
you're right. I think so too.
Hey, Kosuke! Aimi! Come lend me a hand!
Yes,
Yes, Chef!
Chef.
20 years after that, our dad worked really hard until the age of 86. Aimi and I were both able to get married and have our own families as well. Surrounded by his son, his daughter, and his many grandchildren, our father made his way to heaven. Dad, thank you for recognizing our SOS that day. When we reunite with you up there, we can't wait to meet Mom too. Until then, Dad.